My advice on how to get rich quick. And this is from someone who has studied economics, have a couple of degrees, and I've been thinking about this an awful lot for over a decade. 1. Marry well. 2. Be utterly ruthless. Or 3. Now, before I go into the third option, I'm going to need to go into a little bit of background. So, let's rewind, take it back, and put our focus on the economy, like the nature of the economy. Do you know what makes money in this economy? Money. That's the secret of the whole thing. This isn't a system that rewards work or intelligence or creativity. It's a system for growing money for people who already have an awful lot of it and adding to the fortunes of the very richest the fastest. It is a system designed to create like massive stratification, to create within a decade or so the first trillionaire and a large mass of people trapped in poverty, in bare subsistence, even in the heart of the West. The twist is that this system has been sold as merely freedom, as neutral and fair. What this economy really does is it organises all of us into groups, companies, in order for the express purpose of making more money for those that put in some startup juice, the startup capital. And the problem is this system isn't stabilising. It only seems to get worse and worse over time. The fortunes of the rich are ballooning to giddy heights. Meanwhile, ordinary people feel poorer. So why is this happening? Why are people feeling poorer? And the short answer is because they are. In real terms, they are poorer. They may not have taken, well, some have taken real cuts in terms of not being able to achieve the same incomes they could before. But many people are just seeing that slow erosion in their wages by the price of everything going up, but their wages not keeping pace. And that is making that is a reduction in your income, just the same as an all-out price cut, wage cut. So what is this economy doing? What is this market? We have set up a system which lets the rich set the terms completely. They have 100% control of all private organisations. That means all of us are being constantly reorganised to make as much money as possible for capital, for the owners. So the current model allows for capital to wield 100% decision-making control in organisations. All decisions in every company are made purely in the interests of maximising the wealth of those that stumped up the initial cash. And then however much the organisation grows, what it produces, the work done, those that stumped up the initial cash or those that bought the shares from them, either way, people with money, remain in 100% control forever. With the result that all of us in this economy, other than those employed by the state, and that portion is shrinking by design, all of us are being organised and controlled purely to enrich the already rich. So you might be thinking, well, I have some shares in so-and-so and our pensions are invested in companies. So maybe our interests are represented by companies when they're looking to maximise returns purely for a capital. The problem is that your wages are being squeezed by this mindset, these interests. So a tiny shareholding, a small pension, will never offset the losses from playing in a system where you are being fleeced on your wages over 40, 50, 30 years. This is a system that only works for the richest, those at the top of these enormous companies paying themselves multi-million salaries and the rich investors with their massive stakes. So if we understand we are not playing in a free and fair system, so much as a system controlled by capital, which means the very richest, over time they are using this power to gradually shift the terms further and further in their interests, driving down the real value of wages, inflating prices, worsening services, and pocketing the difference. So this is the peculiar result. Like the metrics we've been told to focus on, GDP, perhaps jobs, these are sort of tinkering along. I mean, they're not great. The economy isn't shrinking, though. The economy isn't getting worse. But most of us are feeling the pinch because the split of the pie is shifting. The rich are slowly squeezing more and more from us in terms of what we can afford, and they are pocketing the difference. The difference is being siphoned off from society in profit and engorging asset prices. That is, it's being taken from you, from society, and gilding the lives of the already rich. The super rich are tilting things over time further and further into their corner and slowly impoverishing the rest of us in the West. In the global South, they never had a framework that allowed for society-wide prosperity. And the only reason we have ever had a reasonable, decent standard of living for most people in the West is because in the post-war period, the government acted to invest in people, to shift the scales, to shift the terms of the game, and ensure sort of a basic rights and basic welfare, a reasonable wage, limited working hours, affordable homes. That is, they ensured some of the spoils of the economy were shared and not monopolised entirely by the rich. It is the benefits, the higher well-being that was generated from 1945 to the late 70s that we are currently whistling through. It was it was disguised for a little while by the cheap sell-off of social housing, low rates, spikes in personal debt to mask the erosion of our real wages. But as the brute mechanics of this newer kind of market continues, we just see the continual degeneration in living standards, income, and basic public goods for the many. Education, healthcare disintegrating, as income taxes for ordinary people diminish as a share of the overall pie, and the rich run away with the loot, pushed into trusts, tax havens, and utilising other tax avoidance techniques. Plus the fact we don't really tax wealth. So this is the broad trajectory of the system. It enriches the already rich. It liberates power, if you will, while the rest of us are told this is just the market. This is freedom. You just need to work harder so you can catapult up the systemic and extreme widening curve of inequality. So we have this new hierarchy of plutocrats, an eroded middle class unable to afford homes, and swathes of deprivation with more careening in each year. Basically, we're returning to the Belle Epoque. As inequality chasms widen, social mobility is cratering. Now what matters is starting with cash in a system that is designed to self-replicate it. So if we take this back to where we started, if you want to get rich, my advice, 1, marry well. 2, be utterly ruthless. In this game of power exploiting its advantage, you have an advantage if you have no guardrails, no constraints, if you are myopically focused on money and material advancement, willing to sacrifice anyone to get there. If you are brutally stingy, ensure you exploit any power advantage to the utmost, and make sure, do not forget this part, to trample across any lingering beatings of your conscience. Or there is option 3. Work to change the system. This kind of capitalism, where the rich are liberated to reorganise everything in their interests with minimal constraint from society or the state, is not working for us. It is destroying us and the planet. Now is the time to read up, understand the lie of free and fair markets, the lies of mainstream economics, to understand why and how the system is rigged, and then start talking about it with everyone and anyone, people at the bus stop, at the dinner table, on social media. Once more people understand how we've been hoodwinked into a rigged game, the narrative will shift. People will clamour and demand a less corrupt system. And the old lies and platitudes and pretense, the endless austerity will no longer cut it. We will see who their master is. We will start to see the momentum shift from pull up your bootstraps and the language of handouts and welfare claimants and immigrants to righting the ship, fixing the leaks, and investing in people, not liberating the rich to bend us all to their will. We can create an economy and start demanding something that actually works for all of us, not just the most privileged and the most ruthless. So, yeah. If you like the sound of that and you're interested in any of this, I'll be getting into how and why this system is rigged and how and why modern economics has spun a different tale. Yeah, it's juicy and interesting, and yeah, I hope it resonated.